Joining me to discuss the free fall of the Naira and the tough times that Nigerians are going through is a social change advocate, Doherty. He joins us from the UK. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. And I'm actually tempted for us to begin with the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations. The fact that despite the economic downturn, Nigerians are united and they find a lot of joy, fulfillment, and satisfaction, doing soccer. What do you say about that?
Well, Nigeria, we love soccer. Nigerians who are soccer players have been performing so well everywhere they're at. And it's not anything to say than for us to be joy that Nigeria in this game has come up high with high spirit, with a great styles, intention, strategy. I know that Nigeria would definitely get to pick the cup this time around. And I don't have any fear at all, because Nigeria, our unity is in diversity when it comes to sport. Our unity in diversity is in diversity when it comes to music, entertainment. So therefore, Nigeria is a great country. Nigeria, today we are going to enjoy. We are going to marry after we'll beat South Africa. I'm so optimistic tonight that we are going to top that match.
Well,
Nigerians, let's cheer up our Eagles.
All right, then. I look forward to that too, having the Super Eagles actually soar there. But let's talk about the issue at hand. While addressing lawmakers on Tuesday, the economic management team of the country, they mentioned the fact that where we are today as a nation is not where we used to be. It's far better than where we were before the 29th of May, 2023. But, many Nigerians would dispute that, because they would talk about the prices of commodities, the fact that they have actually skyrocketed since then. What is your position?
Well, the very first thing we have to note is that pricing is a function of demand and supply. And if the demand is high and the supply is low, definitely it will affect price to trigger forward. And whatever is happening in Nigeria today it happens almost all over the world. Nigeria is a greater place to live than the United Kingdom, as we say, because the United Kingdom is more expensive. In fact, in perspective, 68% more expensive in terms of cost of living than Nigeria. But in years past, Nigeria has gone through a period of distortions in terms of famine, in terms of insurgencies, in terms of farmer-seller clashes, and in terms of reduction in exportable products. And all of these are things that had made things difficult for us in Nigeria, especially when it comes to non-processing of crude in Nigeria, which is everything is hinged on cost of fuel, cost of petrol, because of the importation cost and what have you. It's very disheartening. It's very disheartening, but definitely also we look at employment. How many Nigerians are really in employment? Even in employment, what affordability is another thing. What is their income? How much of that income can really, in real terms, get them meal on their table and get to take care of children and all of that. And also, we have quite a lot of factors that are making things so difficult. And Nigeria also as a country, we know anything that goes up in Nigeria, even when the parameters are down, it's always difficult for us to bring the price down, because unlike other economies in the world, where in UK, for example, I can tell you that if the price of fuel goes up, price would relatively go. Price of food and consumables and other items goes up. But if the price of fuel comes down, it has a very great effect on other goods and services too. The price will go down. But in Nigeria,
so why is it so in Nigeria?
If the price goes up, even if you bring the price down.
Yeah, so I was asking.
I believe that we need to work on our pricing regulatory authorities. We need to up our games in terms of supervising and making sure that every area of the economy that that has to deal with making life easier for the majority of the population of Nigeria need to have regulatory organ that will actually enforce pricing. Let's say, for example, we have basic pricing and index as being published every day by the National Bureau of Statistics. National Bureau of Statistics publish all these data, but what in real time are they doing to make sure that various commodity organization or various agencies that can correct prices? What do they do in terms of coming together, engaging with like-minded who are responsible for taking it off to the market? Government in the government, we see that in the last 6 months, government has been doing quite a lot in terms of supporting families, supporting people in employment by paying extra money to cushion the effect of inflation. But how long are we going to do that? So it's time for us to at least go back to the drawing board and begin to look at how to checkmate price. By virtue of bringing back the pricing regulatory organ, then also to begin for the government to begin to support the agri sector in terms of production, and
yes,
for
Mr.
us
Doherty.
to put a mechanism to control erosions and all of those epidemics, all the things too. We need to do more in terms of making sure that the current price that is going haywire is comes down.
That's very critical.
Brought to a bare rest minimum for now.
Yes, that's very critical, and we'll talk about the interventions. You mentioned about enforcing pricing, but can we really enforce pricing when, government is not involved in the business? And wouldn't that mean some kind of subsidy? And remember that what's brought us here, many have attributed it to the removal of subsidy on petrol, at least in Nigeria.
Well, there's nothing we can do about that subsidy. That subsidy thing is a killer. It has killed the economy. We can see the effect of how endemic it has entered into the fabric of us as a country. And now that's what is translating to making life difficult for us. So, but it's a tough decision that has to be made, and this decision had come to the fore. All we need to do now is the government is trying, making sure that all these interventions are put in place to make sure that the suffering effect of these decisions does not overwhelm Nigerians. So what I would say, because in those days too, we had problems. We have inflation problem, we have food scarcity, we have food insecurity in Nigeria, but there was price control regulatory system then, whereby they will say, okay, they put they put prices and they go to the production organizations. I remember then they will go to NESU, they will involve all the other food processing organization, and government will put something in support of those organizations so that they can be able to meet up and reduce and maintain or reduce the price of their goods and services. So therefore, we can do that now. We know that the problem we've had in our country is because of inconsequential effect of actions, which we really need to work on, because every Nigerian we don't really want to be obedient to law, because some of us believe we're above the law and all of that. These are the things that all these tiny things accumulate together to give us a feel of widening the gap between the rich and the rich and the poor. In Nigeria now, I don't think we have the middle class anymore. You understand? So what we need to do is to encourage the system, to encourage farmers, to encourage industries, to encourage goods and service producers to be able to meet the requirements of the nation. And at the same time, we know government is giving a lot of subvention, government is giving a lot of opportunity. The government is trying to cushion the effect, but we also should begin to think outside of the box on how are we as individuals will make sure that the country is the country is moving in the right direction that will make life easy for all of us as Nigerians.
And going back to the issue of, enforcing pricing, you realize, Mr. Doherty, that whether we agree or not, at least for many of these manufacturers, their pricings are determined by the amount that goes into production, by the cost of production. Just this week, we've had the Bakers Association, mobilize their members to present letters to different state governments next week, and saying that 2 weeks afterwards, if there is no intervention from the government, then they would down tools. Just imagine how much more of impact that could actually have on the economy. So in what ways really would you say government should support? Because the prices of even the raw materials to make food and other items available is on the very high side.
I think government has made a bit of pronouncement that the food bank should release the food bank should be open for the benefit of cushioning the effect of pricing. I believe that the associations that had put up their complaint to government to government should look at taking an advantage of that when sitting down and interacting with government to come up with solutions. I believe that we have to look inward too when it comes to our food processing, because we have a country that is very fertile, that has a very fertile land. And in the production of flour, for example, we can use quite a lot of crops to produce flour. I know that there was a time Obasanjo revolutionized cassava, and cassava becomes part of the flour that is used to make bread. I think we need to now look at putting more money in terms of assistance to the flour mills, and encouraging more mills to come on stream. I believe that by the time the investors or the investments that have been the investment that will be trolling into Nigeria in the next couple of months comes in, I believe we'll begin to see support. It's tough, and it might be tough, yeah, but not until when these opportunities are taken and we sit down to discuss this with government. They need to say, okay, we are dining tools, we'll put more pressure and will cause more havoc in terms of inconveniencing the population more. The suffering will be more. So rather than go out and say we will down to they are going to sit down with government to phantom ways of making sure that their own production is protected, maybe by support from the government, and also to be able to think outside of the box in terms of, okay, in the future, what can we do? Where can we put this? How can we put all of this to improve in their research and and development, so that at the end of the day we'll have varieties of crops that can be used in terms of producing, in terms of baking and all of that. So I believe that the time they will be taking to sit down with government would be productive and would work against them going on strike, and I believe that Nigeria will be good for it.
Well, they actually said they had, sent correspondences to offices of the Chief of Staff to the President and secretaries to the government of the Federation. But let's, just wait to see if in the coming days there would be some concrete response coming to them. Mr. Doherty, we probably cannot divorce the economy from security, especially considering that our local farmers, those who go to these farms engaging in subsistence farming, they do not as much as have, very heavy machinery to engage in mechanized farming. But then their day-to-day activities are disrupted as a result of insecurity. How do we tackle this such that we are sure that these farmers can go to their farms and that food can be available?
I believe that insecurity is a challenge to the nation as we speak, but the government should review the architectural times of security. Farmers are protected so that the people are protected, and we build back confidence for farmers to go into their farms. There are quite a lot of investments that should be deployed into security, and also everybody has been speaking about state policing and all that. I think this is the time for us to be looking for the government to look and begin to the process of giving it a very strong thought and let it come to the fore. We sympathize with our people, especially the killing of kings and kidnappings and all of that. If you kill a king of a town, how do you want the people in that town to be secure and encourage their people to go to farm? Therefore, the security architecture should be changed. There are a lot of available technology that can be used in to secure the people, pre or pro or after. After the day, you can deploy series of the technology to monitor the environment and all of that. And also, we must have, like we said, the state police should now be in the front burner of legislation, so that each state can begin the process of securing their state, wealth in terms of protecting the farmers and the entire population of that state. And also, the state government too should be able to within the available resources that they have, take security as a very strong priority. And we know we see that in the last few weeks, the security agencies have been extremely well. Rounding up the bushes in Abuja to Kaduna. We've seen a lot of arrests in this last few weeks, and that is a good intervention. And we think more of that should more of that should be encouraged, so that these criminals would let Nigerians breathe, let farmers breathe, and encourage our people to go back to farm in order to go back to farm, because agriculture is the real thing when we talk about food security and all of that. So we need to secure the farmers. We need to secure the farm, and securing the farm and securing the farmers is the right thing for the security chief of the state, who is the governor, and the security chief of the nation, who is the president, would do. And we commend the president for what he's been doing since his inauguration, tackling all these menace that is endangering our collective living and hampering our daily living in Nigeria. I think our security architecture need to move forward by virtue of giving opportunity for the integration of the state policing in the federalism that we run.
All right. Social change advocates and project management consultants, Doherty, thank you very much for talking to us on the program.